everyone, you're listening to Semi-Intelligent scifimq's official podcast. If you're a new listener and just tuning in now, we regularly update once a fortnight with different guests and sci-fi topics up for discussion in each new episode. My name is Anna and I'll be your host for today. With me is...
Nikki
and Ben.
Welcome, guys! So, because the new season of Game of Thrones will be released in about a week from now, we'll be talking about all things Game of Thrones related on this episode. So just to start off, the HBO TV series is based on a series of books called A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin, and there have been 6 10-episode seasons so far. Season 8 has been confirmed to be the very final season of the show. So, for the uninitiated, what is Game of Thrones about?
Where do we begin?
It's a very broad question, I know, but...
It's a very politically driven fantasy epic.
Yeah.
It really touches everything. It gets the politics and the battles just right. It gets the drama. Like, it makes you cry a lot.
Oh, Red Wedding.
Oh, rip.
Yeah. We'll get to that soon.
And no one is safe. It's not like a CW show where if a main character dies, they're definitely going to come back in the next season.
Yeah. Game of Thrones is medieval fantasy meets medieval history in a incredibly well-written, as long as he's describing food or deaths, manner.
It's a show
seriously, if you've read his books, he's got like 2-page descriptions of the food at a feast, and it's gloriously fantastic.
Because George is very verbose in his descriptions of very minor things. Yeah.
I actually have to bring snacks with me when I read them because otherwise I will be hungry.
You don't have to watch MasterChef, just like read a Game of Thrones book.
The right parts of Game of Thrones. The bit of the book that was the end of the first episode, that's enough to turn you off your food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only read a little bit of the first book, so like even though...
What is it? We gave that section to my brother, and he read it in this creepy voice, and it was fantastic.
We'll get to the book section soon. So, first of all, I'm sure all of you know that some of the most well-known characters are Jon Snow, Daenerys, Tyrion, Arya, Cersei, and quite a few others that I won't list because I'm pretty sure that we'll be here for quite a while if I do. So, I guess my question is, who are your favourite characters and why?
Alright, I'd have to say Tyrion. The book and the TV show incarnations, because they are very different characters.
Yes.
That's a really hard question. Yeah, I do love Tyrion because he's always thinking ahead. He's always thinking whatever I do could have repercussions, and I really do love that. And Dany's very loving with her dragons, and Jon's very noble. Arya's just awesome. Sansa's very sweet, and then you got Marjorie, who's just a genius.
Yes.
But I think purely from watching the show alone, I actually really, really loved Ygritte. Like, I just loved her to death. She was my favorite. I was so devastated when she died.
Spoiler alert. Oh,
spoiler alert, sorry.
My favorite character right off the bat was Arya. I really connected to her badassery on a personal level. Her determination to just do whatever she wants and not conform to society's expectations of her was really admirable.
Yeah, Arya comes as a close second because I related to the tomboy-esque.
Sort
of, not stereotype, but like that sort of arc that she has where she doesn't want to fit in. She doesn't want to be the lady of her house. She doesn't want to be like her sister.
Yeah.
She wants to be the warrior. Yeah. And that is awesome.
Yeah, and she's proven herself very capable and like one of the strongest characters considering what she's been through the past 6 seasons. But I do also love Jon Snow and Daenerys, Tyrion, the typical fan favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, my follow-up question would be, what characters do you absolutely hate? I get this is a pretty easy question to answer because there's like a lot of really hateable characters on the series and the show.
A lot of people will say Ramsay or Joffrey. I actually dislike Joffrey more because even though the Ramsay did arguably eviler things, you couldn't deny that he had this power. Like, as soon as he walked in the room, you could feel, like, everyone tense up. Whereas Joffrey, everyone just rolled their eyes. Yeah. He was just a brat. But he still did have power, but, like, no one respected the power that came with his title. He was just born to that power.
Yeah. Everyone considered Tywin the real king of Westeros, not Joffrey.
Yes. Yeah. Tywin was pulling the strings. He was awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have a hated character. Like, they're all fantastic in their own way. I'd probably say I hate Book Ramsey a lot more than Show Ramsey. Because, again, Show Ramsey he's not as bad as Book Ramsey.
Yeah, Book Ramsey has done a lot of despicable things.
Wait, no. I hate Alistair Thorne. I think that's his name.
Yeah.
He was just a pain.
Yes.
He was just unnecessarily painful.
I was about to say Alistair Thorne actually would probably be my least favourite character.
Yeah. I think I read a comment somewhere that if they had explained his previous allegiance to the Targaryens before joining the Night Watch, I think they would have made Alistair a more sympathetic character in the show, but they took a more one-dimensional and dickish route with him.
Like they did for every other character that they've ever made on the show, yes. I have strong opinions.
That's fine. That's welcome here. Yeah, Joffrey, Ramsay, Cersei. In some respects, I don't really like. There's some aspects of her character or her personality or her actions that I just don't really. Yeah,
it was very realistic though, because everything that she did was because she loved her children. She loved her family. She did everything to protect what was within the Lannister, what she thought the Lannisters were entitled to, and even if that meant hurting children, she would do it. She did it. She did do it.
Yeah.
And now that her children, spoiler alert, are gone, what does that mean? What is that going to do? It's very interesting.
That's a very interesting question going forward with the series, the new season coming up. Yeah. So out of curiosity, what drew you guys to Game of Thrones? How did you first discover it, and what was your initial reactions?
My brother actually had bought the first couple of seasons on iTunes, and I was sitting around bored one day and put it on, and the rest is history, as they say.
My family friends from Canada, her boyfriend was reading the books, and he read a whole book in a day, and I was like, well, this must be good, like it sounds awesome. And then he described it to me, and I was like, this sounds awesome. And then he's like, just wait a couple of years because it's a bit mature for you, because at the time only one series was out, and he was like, yeah, the show itself is also very violent. And I was like, okay, fine. And then my mom started watching it. She was like, there's a lot of sex in it. I'm like, I don't know if I want.
What age were you when
I was
this
probably
happened?
about 14.
Oh, yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. And like, I don't mind violence. I've always been watching violent things, and I've been able to differentiate between fantasy and reality, and that's fine. But I just don't like sex scenes because they're so uncomfortable.
Yeah, they
they're
are.
just so uncomfortable. And then I pushed through it, and I watched the current seasons with my mom.
I was aware of Game of Thrones before I started watching it. I just kind of dismissed it as just like typical like Lord of the Rings-esque
typical nerd
show.
fantasy stuff. Yeah.
But I was like really bored during the holidays, and a classmate of mine, I was like in high school, I was probably in year 11, so I was like around 15, 16 at the time. Yeah, she gave me the first season of the show it's for me to watch, and yeah, at first I kind of didn't really get what it was going. It was very overwhelming. There's a lot of names
just
being thrown
dumped
around.
You in the deep end.
Yeah.
The first season, it doesn't like bother being like previously on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
They just
explained the whole lives of all these characters in detail. They just dropped you in it.
Yeah. I kind of admire the fact that they kind of treat their audience as if like they're intelligent. They can figure it out on their own. But at the same time, it's a little bit overwhelming for someone who hasn't read the books
You
yet.
definitely do need a bit of Wikipedia help.
Yeah.
Even the books, though, do the same thing. Like, it's not till about halfway through the first book, or partway through the first book at least, that you start getting like Ned's
his thinking process,
in like what he's thinking about, like,
what he's investigating.
Not his whole proper backstory, but that kind of you can tell that he's had some sort of experience in the past that is affecting the way he thinks about things today.
Yeah.
I remember before I started watching the series, I was describing Skyrim to my mum, the politics of that, and she was like, "Why aren't you watching this show? It's got a lot of politics just like that, and it's got dragons. You love dragons." And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not watching this yet. And then I did.
Yeah. So after the first season, I was like very intrigued. I kind of wanted to continue watching it because I knew there were like 2 more seasons, because at that point there was only 3 seasons out. So I like kind of devoured the other like 2 seasons in a record amount of time, and then I was like the rest of the other like show watchers just waiting endlessly for the new season to arrive.
I think I binged them in a span like 2 seasons a day.
Yeah. Similar
Far
experience.
out,
Yeah, I managed to finish at least one of the seasons in 1 day.
10 hours a season.
I didn't go outside.
Yeah.
I
Same
did not
here.
go outside.
Okay, I don't go outside.
I just had to
season
know
a day
more.
was kind of the top for me. I need to sleep.
I only managed to do 1 season a day.
I was pretty impressed with myself.
Yeah.
It's a pretty addictive show once you actually understand what it's all about and you actually get into the characters and the politics and the backstabbing.
And like it's not just what you see as well, what's going behind the scenes. Like, for example, you know, the after show discussion thing that the showrunners do, that they put up on like Facebook and YouTube afterwards. Those are very interesting to watch because they sort of explain the motivations of what's going on, why they did this a certain way, and it's I love that just as much as the show, actually. And that's part of the reason why I spend so much time with this show, is because the production around it is just as awesome as the show itself.
It's amazing. They film in like 4 or 5 different countries at the same time. It's a
So
major
they're, like,
production
different units
thing.
all working together and like communicating with each other and what's going on. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
In your opinion, which season and episode would you categorize as your ultimate favorite? Yeah. It's a tricky question.
Yeah.
A lot of mine tend to have battles in them. Prior to season 6, it would have been Battle of the Wall, because that was just fantastic. But now I think the finale of season 6 did definitely top that, because it was just go, go, go.
Yeah.
Or Battle of the Bastards.
That was
fantastically done.
Beautiful episode.
Those last 2 episodes of that season were just masterpieces.
Yeah. I mean, the Red
Still
Wedding was
just,
very shocking.
The Red Wedding was sad, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. They had
Weirdly enough, I enjoyed it.
the other scenes, they had the other scenes in the Red Wedding episode, they focused on Danny, and they also focused on like a near miss between John and Bran. They were like they were in the same
So
place at the same time. I was like, no.
Yeah. I'd say the sort of reveal of the Army of the Dead at the very end of season 1.
That was very...
That was that sort of
poor Sam.
There's something wrong going
Poor
on.
Sam, his
here.
little heart.
But there are so many good episodes that it's
Yeah.
just hard to.
Yeah, it's kind of
Like Blackwater was fantastic.
Yes.
That's one of the more underrated battle dedicated episodes.
It was interesting because never before had the show done an episode that was only located in one place.
Yeah, like purely over the one...
It was only on about King's Landing. We didn't find out anything about Danny, like over in Essos, and we didn't find out about Arya or John. It was mainly
just
about King's
solely
Landing.
about battle from Tyrion's perspective, the battle from Sansa's perspective, and the battle from Davos's perspective.
Yes.
And it was fantastic.
Kind of wish we'd like they did do it again with Battle of the War in season 6.
Yeah.
No, season 4. Season 4, sorry.
Yeah.
It was a good episode,
It was a good episode, but
it's just kind of forgotten because of Battle of the Bastards and Blackwater. How would you rank that episode?
I personally liked it a little bit more than Blackwater because Blackwater was very... I don't know, just the ship battles are just not as good as the hand-to-hand. Like, there was one bit where John, like, Kit Harington's actually using his sword, and then the director, like, stopped and was like, whoa, can we just remove the effect on Kit's sword? It looks like it's moving too quickly. And he's like, no, that's him, that's raw footage. That's him. And that's just so impressive to me.
yeah.
Whereas there weren't as many things like that in Blackwater. Like, those little... intricate things, and also they purposely filmed Rose Leslie's last day to be that scene, so it was very like it had a lot of weight behind
that
it.
kind of sweet.
That was very sweet.
Yeah. There was also that one awesome tracking motion as they were fighting. You saw, I think, Tormund fighting, and then you saw Jon Snow fighting, and then you saw Rose, Ygritte fighting. It was they employed some very interesting camera moves and angles throughout the episode. They found some creative ways to use that in a limited space. And then there's Hardhome.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
that was really cool.
my jaw dropped open after seeing it. I was like so amazed.
I was like, what are they gonna do now? That army is massive.
Yeah.
Like, they're so screwed.
Yeah.
The only person that's actually capable of fighting is basically Jon, but you can't just clone Jon a bunch of times because And there's not enough Valyrian steel in the world to...
The dragon glass. They left behind the dragon glass.
As well, yeah. You guys suck.
That episode was particularly important because it really cemented the real threat that
the White Walkers.
The White Walkers posed. Yeah. Favorite season? Any favorite season?
4 or 3?
Season 3, I'd say. It kind of started going downhill after that.
I found season 5 to be the weakest.
Yeah, season 5 only had a couple of strong, like it had strong moments, but not entirely strong episodes.
Yeah.
It just really fell behind. It was more of the, alright, a bunch of people died in season 4, we gotta take a breather kind of thing. It was the breather season for me.
It was, they were kind of spinning their wheels for a minute there in season 5.
But like, they killed a lot of people in season 5, and a lot of terrible things happened, like Sansa's Black Wedding. That was awful.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you thought, that can't get worse than that, poor Sansa, then they go,
Shireen!
Poor Shireen!
Oh my god.
No. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
That was infinitely worse.
Yeah.
Child murder was worse.
Yeah,
I think season 3 would have to be my favorite season.
Season 3 was the high point.
Yeah.
In terms of, I've read the books, I love the books, and the motivations for the characters just completely shifted season 4, and there was more stuff that the showrunners had put in.
Yeah. Less
stuff that George had written, and they changed characters too much. And I was especially annoyed at the end of season 4 when Tyrion and Jaime parted amicably.
Yes, yes. It was completely different from what happened in the books.
Yeah.
They were supposed to end on bitter terms.
And with that parting between Tyrion and Jaime, Tyrion had no reason other than it was in the book to go and kill Tywin. The book, that parting with Jaime in the books where Jaime says, actually, the woman that you married years ago actually did love you, and I was forced to say those things by Dad. That's the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of Tyrion actually going to become a patricide.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And skipping that loses all of his motivation.
Yeah.
For me.
I think if they had added that in, it would have made his total separation from the other Lannister family more impactful. Yeah, I guess.
From someone who hasn't read that any of the books, basically, it still felt quite gravitational in the fact that you're killing your father. It's not, as much as you may hate someone, that's a very big thing to do. And he must have really, really hated him to pull the trigger and finally do that on the toilet.
Wanted to find out if Tywin Lannister shits gold.
The last line of that book, right after Tywin being shot, was and it turns out Tywin Lannister did not, in fact, shit gold.
That's a great way to
yeah. Well, at least Tyrion's part of the book. I don't remember if it's the exact last line, but
I definitely think after the Red Wedding, there's this definite shift in season 4 that I felt was noticeable. I felt like season 4 was kind of a transitional season. They had to get used to the removal of of Catelyn and Robb. Most of the Northern forces are just completely wiped out.
It became very Lannister focused.
Yes.
As painful as that is, the Lannister.
But we got that very great trial episode of Tyrion in season 4.
The trial was so good.
Yeah.
That was only a couple of on this day. I had my on this day on Facebook come up with, due to the graphic nature of last night's Game of Thrones, we can't show you any pictures. But here's a picture of a smashed watermelon.
Oh,
yes, that was
Pedro
2
Pascal
years.
was upset that he thought he was going to be in it for longer. So
Oh,
he was very upset, and I was like, I can relate.
Yeah, we would have wanted him to
read the book then.
come in longer. Yeah, I would have wanted him to stay, but given what happened to him in the books.
Season 5 was very weak because of the sand snakes. A lot of people were so mad about the sand snakes.
They were awesome in the books.
No, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
The whole Dawn plot line was fantastic.
I think
in the book.
tanked because there was no Arian Martell. She kind of spearheaded the awesomeness of the
Yeah,
sand
well,
snakes in the books, but since the show
Not that they didn't do a bad job, like those actors did a great job
Yeah.
of what they were given, but what they were given wasn't great. That's the difference.
No,
I love
no.
Jessica Henwick so
They
much.
did a terrible job with what they were given, which was they were given this fantastic plot line that George wrote, and then they threw that in the bin and wrote something stupid.
No, but the actresses themselves
Oh,
were given
yeah.
that by the directors, which was garbage.
Yeah. Because what is it? The reveal in like one of the last spots with Doran in the books, where he's just like gives Ariane a scrap of material with the Targaryen logo on it, and he just says fire and blood. Like that kind of reveal that he's been a Targaryen loyalist this whole time, and he's been playing the long game.
Doesn't surprise me.
Along with Varys and Illyrio in Pentos and everyone to try and get, and the idea that all the suitors for Ariane were old and disgusting, so she'd reject them because the original plan was to marry her to Viserys. And then Viserys went and got himself killed, so he went with plan B, which was to send his son to Meereen to marry Dany.
Yeah, Quentin.
And, you know, he got there just after Dany had declared that she was getting betrothed to... Oh, I forgot his name.
His dark Zalora? His
And then Quentin was like, I'm going to go see the dragons. And, you know, the next thing you see of Quentin, it's a Dany chapter, and she's like, yeah, stupid boy, we've pulled him out and he's not going to survive. Like, everything's melted off. Like,
I think also, like, because the show's gotta get going and, like, there's a demand for the show to be at a certain time. Like, people got so upset when it wasn't, like, released in April. That's like a month difference. Like,
and when it was announced you were getting less episodes.
yeah, like people got so upset.
Anyone see
But
that
it,
Harry
like-
Potter meme where it's like, how many episodes of Game of Thrones I'm getting? Dudley, it's like 8. I counted them myself. 8. Last year I got 10.
And it's like, to do that long route that the books take, like this very long game sort of plot, would have taken forever. Like, and it would have gotten pushed back more and more and more, and then people would have gotten more upset. So they're trying to meet that demand and like cut a plot corner.
Yeah. Do you want like the episodes to arrive at the exact like time and day as like the previous seasons, or do you actually want like an actual good season?
I'd like a season that makes sense, actually. I'd like a plot line that makes sense, actually.
I can understand why they did take these shortcuts because of the demand, and they would have gotten a lot of fan, like people that don't read the books and don't want to read the books would get upset. But I would prefer if they took their time
Yes.
to do this long game, because that plot sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds so much more...
It's better than getting like an episode full of fillers.
Yeah, even though the reveal that Varys was playing the long game this whole time was a great reveal, it would have been even better if he was backed up by this entire house of the Martells. That would have been awesome.
And a house that historically had actually been separate from the Targaryen, had actually beaten off the Targaryens for years and years and years.
Yeah, and like played the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
And only had been part of like Westeros and the Seven Kingdoms through a marriage contract rather than conquest. Like the Martells in Dorne had beaten Aegon the Conqueror. Like,
that's a big
and it was
thing.
only 200 years later that it's like, well, we'll marry my son to your princess, and then you come into the Seven Kingdoms. And they're like, yeah, sweet, why not? Like,
What are your thoughts on the controversy and criticism over the violence and sex scenes depicted in the show?
I think it's not much different from a lot of other shows. Like a lot of other shows, like True Blood, they never got complaints. I think they have a Guinness World Record for having the most artificial blood used in one episode, which was like they had to get like big bags of just blood and then shove them into a wood chipper.
oh, nice.
Because in that show, when vampires die, they just burst into blood for some reason, which is understandable why they have that world record.
Yeah.
But like, I've seen a lot of like things that are just as bad, if not worse. Like The Walking Dead, they got people just hanging jaws
with
off
Glenn. Yeah.
And Glenn, that was the most graphic thing I've ever seen in my life.
That wasn't even on premium like cable network. That was on like a public access cable network. It was AMC. It's not HBO. HBO kind of
like HBO's always been
you got to pay for this network in America. Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh god, it's just so disgusting, that one. Like, the most graphic moment in Game of Thrones arguably has been that head smashing moment.
And they actually had to tone that down. Like, the original cut had a lot more of that in it. HBO were like, no, that's just...
Even for HBO, that was too much.
We don't want people to vomit onto their screens, basically.
Maybe, like, it speaks to, like, how desensitized viewers are these days. Yeah? Compared to, like, viewers back in the 60s or 70s.
It was also a very violent... Like, the stuff that Martin's based his work on is a very violent time. Like,
yeah, it was.
We're talking about, like, the War of the Roses.
Yeah.
In England. And it was a time when, yes, people got their heads bashed in.
People were raped. Yeah.
Peasants were oppressed.
Yeah.
And, like, Vikings is another violent show.
Oh my god, I love Vikings.
It like, a lot of my friends that don't watch Game of Thrones but watch Vikings, they're like, oh, it's better because it's more violent. I'm like, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Did you
can't really make that judgment unless
they had a pile of bodies.
Yeah.
But you can't really compare the two.
If you haven't seen one, you can't exactly compare the two if you haven't seen both of them.
Had a taste of both.
Yeah.
And that's got a lot of, like, graphic things in as well.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get nearly as much.
Yeah. I think it's because Vikings is a little bit more underrated. Not many people know Vikings compared to Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones
is getting
like,
a lot more well known now.
Yeah.
But, like, I think they started around the same time, kind of. Like,
I think
maybe
Vikings,
like a season or two after.
Vikings like start a little bit after Game of Thrones.
Yeah, just like a little bit after. But when these types of, like, history fantasy pieces were becoming more popular.
Yeah.
Like Black Sails.
Vikings. And it didn't get nearly as much attention, and, like, both negative and positive.
Because Game of Thrones has, like, become a huge cultural phenomenon now. There's all the, like, spotlight is, like, on Game of Thrones, and everyone's looking to Game of Thrones to see what mistakes
they'll do. That everyone watches. It's like the Twin Peaks of now.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting that people have only started coming out of the woodwork to complain about things in the last couple of seasons, though. Like, early season 5, you had all those massive complaints about, like, Sansa's rape, pretty much. Yeah. And the very first episode, Daenerys' wedding night, which was pretty much the same thing.
But outside, basically.
But outside, and with a guy that by the end of the season she was massively in love with and crying over.
Yeah.
Which actually, when you think about it, makes it more creepy.
It's a case of Stockholm Syndrome.
No, it makes it creepier, yes.
Yeah.
And yet, like, no one complained when season 1 was out.
Some people even supported Dany and Khal Drogo. I never saw the appeal in that relationship.
Everyone comes out, it's like, oh, but her head is turned all sideways, and you can, and it's really horrible that you just. The big thing is Theon's reaction.
Yeah.
Like, just in terms of, like, sexism within the show, like, they're framing this horrific traumatic event for Sansa, one of their other main characters, in terms of the reaction of one of the men, the other male main characters.
Yeah. So the focus was shifted totally away from Sansa towards
Theon.
When the scene was all about her, because that was being done to her, so it should have been about her. It was a lot more despicable
in the books, actually, even though it wasn't Sansa that it was done to. Because what is it in the books? Jane Poole. Yeah, they're passing her off as Arya.
Yeah.
And Ramsay gets up there with Theon after the wedding, and it's like, I thought Littlefinger had her trained. Like, she's not anywhere near ready. Reek, go and do something about that. Like, so he forces Theon to do something to her before he does anything himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Okay, I know that some of you guys have read at least, like, some of the books, if not all of the books.
I've read all the Wikipedia stuff like, that's relating to how it's different. So, like, people tell me, oh, this is different, so I go Google that. That kind of thing.
I've only read up to, I think I've only read the first 4 books. I haven't read the 5th book because it is huge, and I don't have a lot of time at the moment.
I have read up to A Dance with Dragons. Yeah. I haven't yet read A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which was the collection of short stories.
Yeah, I haven't read that too.
About, actually, I think Aegon Targaryen, like the Maester, before he became a Maester. Yeah, Egg.
It's going to be a very expensive box set.
So going back to my original question, what major changes have the show made that wildly differ from the books?
Ooh, like
Tyrion.
Tyrion.
Definitely Tyrion. Tyrion in the books is a lot more of a monster.
He's more crass.
Oh, well, okay. So the scene that actually did make it into the show where Cersei's saying, "We've got your whore," to Tyrion and shows him the wrong girl. And like his promise to Cersei was, "Well, I've got your son." Like his men had actually taken Tommen and had him in a different castle. And it's like, I will repay hurt for hurt. And actually threatened his nephew with rape.
Wow.
Like if anything like that had happened to
Shay.
or not to Shay,
The fake Shay.
in the
what
was it
what
in the
Cersei
books?
believed was
what Cersei believed was Tyrion's lover.
Ross.
Oh,
in
Ross
the show,
in
yeah.
the show.
Yeah.
And
I think I read that part, but
Yeah,
it's
I
been
mean,
a while
and he
since
got his nose cut off as well.
Yeah.
got his face completely mutilated. And then the stuff with this thing where like, he and Jorah actually get captured by slavers, and he and another dwarf are forced to perform circus tricks, pretty much. Yeah.
That's like a whole novel level of degradation.
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
They
Like,
didn't
and
even put it in the
it's,
show.
Um,
The closest they did in the show was like showing him being auctioned off.
Yeah. Like,
This
so
is
it's
like-
that sort of like they and obviously I've spoken before about the whole backstory with his wife that
Tysha.
Jamie Tysha, who Jamie had said no, I'd paid her for you. I figured it was time to become a man. And then Tywin's reaction was, well, she's a whore. Everyone in the barracks got to go, and then Tyrion had to go, and then like she was sent off with a bit of money, and then like having Jamie say, actually, Dad had forced me to lie then, and that's why Tyrion went up to Tywin. That's why he found Shay in Tywin's bed and killed her, and then their whole conversation was like, "Where's Tysha?" And for the rest of like his time, he's like, because Tywin's last words to him were, "She's wherever whores go." And
I mean, he spends,
Tyrion's just like for the rest of the the rest of the next book, he's like,
Where do
horse go?
go?
He's trying to find this woman.
Yeah, and they also changed the girl that Robb Stark marries and the reason why
Jane
he marries.
and
Yeah,
Talisa.
Jane Poole.
Yeah.
No, not Jane Poole. Jane Westerland.
Yes. I think in
something like that.
Westerling.
Westerling.
yeah, Westerling. The reason why he marries her in the book is better than lusting after some nurse. That he like in the book it stayed true to his character a bit more.
He was
whereas
The
they
fact
showed him
the
to
fact
be
that
honourable.
in the book, everything was done from Catelyn's perspective as well. Like you didn't see a lot of Robb on his own. So you didn't see any of the romance there. You just saw him come back with this girl, and she's like, and Catelyn's like, "What happened?" I was like, "Well, I was wounded, and she looked after me, and one thing led to another, and now I've dishonoured her. I had to marry her."
Also, like, they really wanted to play the sort of parallels between Jon and Robb, where love is the death of duty and duty is the death of love, where Jon chooses his duty over his love, and Robb did the opposite.
Oh yeah.
They
I
really
didn't think about that.
They were trying to work with that, and I was
Yeah.
like, but Robb wouldn't betray his duty because he knows better than that. He knows better than that. He was
did
an
the-
awful politician,
he did
but he
the-
wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he placed his honour over his duty. And that's not the only reason why he died, but that's why Frey was willing to
Stab him in the back.
stab him in the back.
We'll get Roose Bolton to stab
Oh.
him in the stomach.
They changed Roose Bolton so much too. Roose Bolton in the books was a horribly like creepy character. Like soft spoken, a little bit overweight, like super pale with piercing blue eyes.
Menacing
kind of.
presence.
And he leeched himself daily.
Oh yeah, I remember. Why didn't they show them the show?
I don't know, but and then just the way he interacts with Ramsay. Like Ramsay in the books is a lot more like completely off his head, bloodlust, crazy. It's like there's this one scene where it's like where Ramsay's says like anyone who crosses me, I'll turn them into boots. Or some woman, a noble insulted him. I was like, I'll turn her into shoes. And Roose is just like, we can not afford to do anything like that to our allies, you moron.
They definitely did, not on the same level, but definitely did try to make an attempt to show how Roose was the more level-headed guy.
Well,
like, he wasn't exactly...
Roose is creepy, and yes, he's really off, but...
He thought ahead a bit more.
Oh, he played the game, and he played it well, and Ramsay was just incapable of doing it.
Yeah, like his anger at his father having a legitimate son. Like, he lost control, and then he, like, got too hasty with going to war with the Starks, and then all that other stuff. And he thought he could win, just because his army was bigger, but Jon was just better.
No, Jon wasn't just better. Like, Sansa was...
Sansa...
scheming chess master behind the scenes.
Because she learned to play the game.
Well, I'm also just thinking, like, is the only reason that she didn't tell Jon, hang on, I've got an army coming, that she wanted to get rid of Jon?
Ooh, that's a good point, because...
Yes, she deliberately warns him into not being goaded into Ramsay's trap, but...
I don't believe that Sansa would willingly get rid of Jon. He's the only family that she has left.
Yes, he is, but that's sort of, why don't you tell him that you've got an army coming? You know you've got an army coming.
I think I read something with that. It was like the army coming was dependent on Littlefinger, and she wasn't sure about her relationship with Littlefinger at the moment. She wasn't sure if he would backstab her and just say...
That's a good point, because he is very despicable.
Yes.
But then again,
she didn't want to get Jon's hopes up. She needed his reaction to be real in the face of Ramsay, because if Jon was all calm in the face of Ramsay would know what was up and suspect it.
And I suppose this is where Game of Thrones becomes fun. Like, you get all the fan theories and the tinfoil hat wearing theories.
Tinfoil hat.
If you've ever spent any time on either of the two major Game of Thrones subreddits, so Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, or ASIOF, OI.
A Song of Ice and Fire,
whatever the acronym is.
Yeah. You get a lot of crazy tinfoil theories. They call it tinfoil because they're wearing tinfoil hats, and it's
who is Azor Ahai?
Yeah.
Now for some ending comments and questions. So just to start off, so what do you guys think will happen in the new season and beyond?
I think the dynamic between Jaime and Cersei will definitely be very different in that she's very cold and apathetic now.
She's got nothing to lose.
She really has nothing to lose now. And I don't think him killing her would just be too predictable. I feel
But then again, Tyrion killing Cersei would also be predictable.
Not from a character point of view, though. Because Jaime's just realising what Cersei is.
He's reminded of what he did to the Mad King, and her actions are reminiscent of the Mad King.
Actually, in the books, Jaime and Cersei had been separated for a while because of Tyrion's parting words to him was a laundry list of the guys that she'd been with while he was in prison.
A laundry list.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, and that whole time, Jaime's been rejecting. So, in the books, he actually doesn't come to her aid when she requests military help because he's off in the Riverlands fighting a war. So, I really do think it's gearing up for Jaime Lannister to become the Queenslayer as well.
That would be awesome.
Kingslayer and Queenslayer.
Yeah.
I think that there is a possibility. I don't know that it just seems like this is a possible way it could go. Is that Littlefinger's trying to drive a wedge between Jon and Sansa? He is definitely trying to say, why is he the king? You're the one that's trueborn. Why is he ruling?
I think there have been some hints that Arya might arrive in Winterfell, and
I would love that so much.
I would love that too.
She loves Jon so much, and she has a very special bond with him.
Yeah. I think if Arya would arrive, it would cement the fact that to Sansa that her family is here. Family is more important than whatever power play Littlefinger is offering her.
That she'll try
I'm still waiting for a reunion between Arya and Nymeria.
Yes.
Oh my poor heart. Well, my friend has met the direwolves.
Do you know what Nymeria has been up to in the books?
She's been leading a pack of wolves?
Yeah, she's
in the Riverlands.
There have been mentions of a vicious pack of wolves led by a massive she-wolf.
The only problem
off the phrase one by one.
The only pickle that we have is the actual dog that was casted as Nymeria. They don't actually know where she is because the people that bought her and own her didn't realize that she was part of the show, and they just live a regular life. Shout out to Josie Mira for telling me that.
And for our question of the week for both the listeners and our guests, which Westerosi house would you want to belong in? House Stark, Lannister, Targaryen, Martell, or Greyjoy?
I think I'm gonna say Stark because
I love the Starks.
You just, even though they've lost the most, apart from the Targaryens, you just can't deny how awesome they are.
Yeah, I would say the Starks too. Targaryens would be like a close second. Because dragons.
Yeah.
Dragons.
I'd actually say Tyrell as second and then Targaryen.
The Lannisters always pay their debts. Although that's kind of the guy I am, like Harry Potter or Slytherin, Game of Thrones Lannister, like Star Wars Sith, but smart Sith. So Lannister.
A Revan type Sith.
Yeah, Lannister, but, Tywin, or Tyrion, not the crazy incest twins.
Tywin is definitely one of the more smart Lannisters.
I mean, like, the origins of the Lannister family is kind of amazing, how far they've come. They went from basically being peasants to being what they are now.
One of the richest families in the entire...
Well, not now, because they're like
not
flat
now,
broke.
They are a bit broke now, but originally, when the series first started, they were one of the richest families.
Yeah.
Everyone's going a bit broke.
War tends to do that to people.
And then it somehow also boosts the economy.
Oh, it boosts the Tyrell economy. Like, their lands were untouched by war and they're all farmers, pretty much.
So just to remind you guys, Season 7 will be released on the 17th of July here. You can hit us up on our Facebook, SoundCloud and YouTube to either share your feedback or share your answers to our QOTW. Remember, you'll receive points for which you can redeem for movie tickets or 3D printed objects if you participate in the comment section of our social media channels. Thanks guys for joining us today and thanks for listening. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye.